Hi guys, so I'm seated right here at my farm and I just thought through something that I felt would be quite critical to share with some of you, and that is how to actually build generational wealth as a farmer. How do you get to that point where you're actually making money and making money that lasts and making money that's important, making money that's valuable on a farm? How do you do that? Because that's what I'm personally trying to do. So I'm hoping that, if you're outside there now, we all make money for different purposes. Some people make money because they didn't have money when they were younger, so they're just trying to prove a particular point to themselves, and it's okay. Some people make money to prove a point to others. I think that's really terrible. Some people make money because they suffered when they were young and they don't want their people to suffer. And people make money for all particular reasons. I believe I make money for the generation, for the people who come after me, to find something and for them to realize that I actually made something for them, but also to be able to change the world around me. Yeah, so I'm making money for generations. For me, that's the goal. Yeah, to impact the people around me currently, but also for the people who come after me to feel the impact of what I could actually have done and what I do. I'm also Christian, and I do believe the Bible when it says that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children and for his children's children. And that's what my goal is. Now, leaving an inheritance for your children is quite easy. I just make money and I have enough money to live for my children. Leaving an inheritance for your children's children is actually not easy, because what that means is that you need to train your children to actually also leave money for their children. So that one doesn't just involve you making money, it also involves you training your children to make money and also preserve what you give them. And I'm hoping that that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm also going to be sharing with you guys how I'm going to be going around this. Now, of course, a lot of people work hard and their goal is to leave money or leave wealth for their children and an inheritance. I'm doing it in a rather unconventional way. And what does that mean? I used to be a doctor, a practicing medical doctor, and I decided to quit my job as a doctor and chose to go out and do farming. It seems very obvious, but not too many people would make such a decision because it feels very radical. I've had a lot of people asking me, and they're like, why did you waste your time at the university? Why did you waste money? The government's money, because I personally studied on a government scholarship. Why do you waste the government's money? You took up a place that someone else could have taken up and they would be a doctor. They're just telling me all these things. How would I leave being a doctor and come out to be a farmer? But in all honesty, I actually managed to, build it up and actually make proper money as a farmer. Actually, way more than I would ever be making as a doctor at this point. Way, way more money than I would ever be making as a doctor. Yeah. So how am I, positioning myself to do this? Now, the first way is by being unconventional. Yeah, being what you'd call a contrarian. Yeah, that means someone who's always contrary. I mean, I post a lot on X. If you're not on X, you can go and follow me on X. And right there, I post my ideas and thoughts. And a lot of them, people are not in agreement with it. But I personally do believe these are things that, make the world. Yeah. For example, if I find someone who has a farm and it has been successful and they're doing really, really well, I'll sit down and listen to them very well. There's always something to learn from someone who is better than you at something. And just like that, there's always nothing to learn from someone who is worse than you. The only thing that you can learn from someone that's worse than you is how to not be like them. Yeah. Now, of course, you might pick out a point or two, but you're just giving them too much time. Yeah. The thing is that as you grow older, as I grow older, even on the farm and everything, the thing I realize is you have less and less time, and time becomes of more value. So I would rather spend my time on things that I believe are going to cause a great impact in my life than spending my time on things that I believe won't change so much about my life. And that means not giving a lot of audience to people who I believe don't have so much to add from me. Yeah. So one of the unconventional ways that I've been implementing things on the farm is by analyzing everything. Now, by default, you'd imagine that's like the most default thing that everyone should be doing, but you'll be surprised how people don't actually analyze stuff. Yeah, I try to study everything around. If someone gives me information about something, if I'm having particular results on the farm, I'm sitting down and thinking to myself, why has it turned out this way? Why is it like this? Why isn't it like this? What's the problem? What can I do to change the circumstances? What can I do to change the situation around me? Yeah, that's very important, very, very important, because if you don't analyze, things will just fall on you. It's from this point of analyzing and sitting down and looking at situations critically that you can actually come up with solutions, that you can actually come up with things that outside what people would conventionally think. Honestly speaking, I can't tell you that I've made any groundbreaking discoveries in terms of managing the farm. I believe there are a lot of things that I've actually implemented in the farming world that a lot of other people were not implementing before. But again, these things were being implemented into other businesses, yeah? But when I sit down and think about them, things like record taking, critical thinking, understanding the psychology when it does come to dealing with employees and things like that, a lot of these things are things that are applied in all other realms of industries, but for some reason farmers don't consider them really important. And I personally have decided to think and consider integrating them into my farming world so that I can have the great results that will increase my chances of success. And it has been very obvious that because of implementing these things, I've actually been way more successful than I could have been. There are so many farmers who are way more successful. They make 10 times, 100 times, 1,000,000 times more money than I ever make. But considering where I started from, working as a doctor in Uganda, I think I was earning like maybe $800, between $700 and $800 a month. That's nothing, honestly speaking, yeah? Considering the cost of living and everything, that's nothing, yeah? So getting to the point where, you can build a proper farm on quite a number of acres, have things running, it takes a lot and a lot of sacrifice. So it's difficult if someone is starting from money. It's difficult with someone like me who honestly grew up in a poor family, yeah, really poor family. I wouldn't say really poor, we're not like begging food, but yeah, we were poor. I mean, my dad had inherited land, but my dad was working as a driver. My mom was working as a hairstylist. I mean, those are people who don't earn a lot of money, yeah? So I was working as a doctor. I was honestly the very first, but I even quit that, turn out and be a farmer. And I can tell you that the thing that has enabled me to get to this point is because of the critical thinking and analyzing situations. That helps you, come up with decisions that a lot of people wouldn't approve of, but I personally believe will get me great results because I've thought about it deeply, and I believe that if I implement it, it's going to cause a great deal of change in my life. Now, the other thing is training my children, because like I said, if you're going to leave wealth or leave an inheritance for your children's children, you need to train your children, yeah? A lot of people these days make the mistake of, not paying attention to their children. And sometimes they feel like they are loving their children by giving them everything that they need and not being tough on them, not telling them bad things that they wouldn't want to hear. And whilst that might seem like a good thing at the start, in the end, it ends up spoiling the child. Like the Bible says, spare the rod and spare the child. Sometimes the rod might not be a physical rod, but sometimes it might involve a bit of punishment, restrictions and things like that, so that the child understands that, there's a price to pay for everything. And the earlier you learn that, the better it is. The later you learn that, and the less time you have to teach the children, the worse it is. So the earlier you teach it to your children, the better that it is. And for me personally, that's something that I'm trying to do. My children are, still young, but I'm trying my best to make sure that, I teach them what respect is, what communication is, what understanding the value of hard work is, what understanding the psychology of other human beings, not taking anything for granted, not sitting there and thinking that, everything can be given to you for free. These are things that I believe are very important. I'm trying to teach them to my kids as much as possible. So this is probably not something I can talk about a lot because, again, I'm not a counselor or things like that. But in the road to building generational wealth, that's something that I'm actually paying a lot of attention to, and I'm hoping that it will pass on to my children. Now, the other factor is empowering others. If you're going to be building generational wealth, you've got to empower others, because you can't make an impact as a single entity. You can, but your impact would be really limited and it would be small. You need the help of others. A lot of times, even the people who are given a lot of credit, they would never have made it without other people, yeah? And maybe the other people are not talked about, just like me right here. A lot of you guys only see me, but there's a huge team behind me. There's the farm managers, the farm employees, all the kinds of people who are working around. All those are people who are working to ensure that, the farm is having the great results that we keep hoping for and that we keep working for and we keep wanting, yeah? So it is very, very important that you try to empower others. So what are some of the ways that I try to empower others? Number one, by training, yeah, giving them all the knowledge and the skills that they do require for them to be able to, fulfill the duties that they do require but also for them to understand life. Like I kept telling you guys, yeah? I mean, I'm training my children, but I'm not only training my children, I train the people who I'm working with. I train them on the value of work. I train them on the value of life. I train them on the value of, implementing particular things, following protocols and things like that. But also financially empowering the people, yeah? So of course I do have employees around the farm, and I try to make sure that the payment for the guys on the farm is really based on results, yeah? So if someone is not getting results, they won't have, the benefit of maybe an added pay. And if someone is getting results, they could have their salary, doubled, tripled in a really short time, because they are actually doing something to ensure that, their performance improves, yeah? So empowering people both financially and, emotionally, training them is actually something that I'm paying a lot of attention to in my path to ensuring generational wealth. And finally, the one that would probably cause the most noise is that focusing on one thing as much as possible. Now, for people who do business or haven't done a lot of business, that might seem contrary, because you're thinking in your head, the better thing would be to place your eggs in different baskets. And what that would mean is that in case one of the things fails, you have something else to run up to, and that might make sense. But in reality, the easiest way for you to actually grow wealth is putting your eggs in one basket. If you put your eggs in one basket, you only have one thing that you're focusing most of your attention to, and that means you get really good at that one thing. And if you get really good at something, trust me, people are going to pay you a lot of money for it, because I'll tell you the honest truth, not too many people are actually good at things. Most people are not really good at things. So not placing your eggs in one basket, it might seem a bit contrary to the truth, but it increases your chances of succeeding and becoming really good and excellent at something. Now, I'm not trying to say that by doing that you shouldn't do anything else. You can do other things, but those things should be smaller and they shouldn't be big distractions. Yeah, they shouldn't distract you a lot. Pay a lot of attention to one thing. Once you do that, you can get really good at it, and once you become really good at it, you earn a lot of money from it. Once you do that and you're earning a lot of money, then you can get and hire a lot of experienced and good people to help you run other things. And you'd have a lot of big things, but not really because you focused on a lot of big things, it's because you focused on one thing. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It's a bit different from my usual type of videos, but it's something that I thought would be great for my FarmUp subscribers to understand. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.